Because so many people, they just quit. They just give up. Like, why am I still here? Because I'm not giving up. Like, it's not an option, right?
Right.
So I'm constantly leveling up, but every time I level up, I'm going into the unknown. There's always scary things, or what about this, or what about that?
Right.
So it's not like, oh, I'm 16 years in, I've got it, this is easy. Well, I have more experience, but I don't have all of the experience.
Right. Hi, welcome to another episode of Mom Does It All. If you're looking for encouragement, empowerment, and uplifting in motherhood and mompreneurship, this is a show for you. I'm your host, Marta Spurk, triplet mom, certified success coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. In this episode, I talked to seasoned entrepreneur and business coach, Stacy Tuschl. She shares about her journey and gives us advice from 16 years of experience in different business ventures. So much wisdom. You won't want to miss it. Hi, Stacy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
Yes, totally. So I wanted to start off by just saying how much I love the name of your business, because it just says everything on it, which is...
It's She's Building Her Empire. And that's funny you say that, because when I picked the name, I was very intentional that it wasn't just about me or something that was special to me. I wanted it to resonate with other women. And that's exactly what it's done. And it's just, we're creating a movement. And I love that.
I love that. Yes, a movement, empowering other women to do the same thing, not just be the only one, the special one, right? But just help women see that they have this, all of us have this power within us, and we can go about doing whatever it is that is in our hearts. So tell us more about your business, what you do, how you got started. I know that's a loaded question, but just tell me.
So I actually started my first business right out of high school, like the summer I graduated.
Wow.
I started teaching dance classes in my parents' backyard for free.
Oh my goodness.
Just for fun. I was like, oh, I'm going to, do this as a hobby. And what's crazy is within 3 years, I had 100 kids getting dropped off in my parents' backyard.
Oh my gosh.
Dance classes from me. Yeah. So fast forward 16 years later, we now have, I say we, but I am the sole owner. I have 2 performing arts academies in Milwaukee. We have about 1,000 dance and music students. We have a fine arts and state licensed preschool program that we run in the mornings. We've got about 40 employees. We gross over $1 million a year and have been now for about 5 or 6 years. And it's just this crazy, I had no idea. I thought I was starting a hobby. It's just so unbelievable how fast that has happened. So what happened in this other business, this online coaching consulting, was naturally people started to ask me questions like, how are you growing so fast? And, you work from home, but you have these 2 physical locations. So how does that work? And I just started to naturally, and what's funny is I taught for free. People would pick my brain and take me to Starbucks or take me to Panera for lunch. And I just loved it. I was like, oh, this is fun, And a while in, I thought maybe I could charge and have a business, just like I said, 3 years into my dance hobby, maybe I could charge for this. So kind of a full circle moment. And I started coaching professionally, actually charging about 3 years ago.
Okay. Oh, that's such an interesting story. I love that because, and that's the beauty of entrepreneurship and talking to different women, is that we have similar stories in a sense, but they're so different and so unique too. Like the path, it's not linear at all. We go through different detours and things to get to where we are right now. And I just love that, especially for me, having like a background in teaching too. I can totally appreciate that, because it comes from this desire of I just want to help and show you what I know for free. That's okay, because I'm really passionate about it. And then turning into a business, that's so inspiring. I love it. Thanks. And I saw that you're an author too, motivational speaker. So what are the different things that you got going on?
Yeah. So I think, like you just said, when you naturally see yourself as a teacher, it's so easy to start a podcast. It's so easy to take somebody to lunch and let them pick your brain and all of that. Now, yes, you got to be careful with boundaries and all of that. I mean, there is fine lines for everything. But I think for me, I've been saying yes to so many things because I just get so inspired. Somebody said, I bet you'd be good at podcasting. And I thought, I'll give it a try, and 3 years later, I am just loving podcasting. So I do speak, not so much anymore, only because my schedule is so jam-packed. And I've got 2 little kids that I want to make sure I'm home with them and I'm not always leaving. So I'm very, very restrictive right now with my schedule, but yes, I do love to speak. I do a lot of local things and I do my own events. So I've got to be very careful that I don't overschedule myself. And then I wrote a book a couple years ago, and book number 2, oh my goodness, I've been saying it's been coming for a couple years, but it really will be coming at some point.
Okay. Awesome. And what is your first book? What is the title and what?
So my first book is called Is Your Business Worth Saving? And it started because I was coaching a lot of people who were going, this isn't that easy, and I don't know if I can do this. And I don't know if I'm worth, am I able to run my own business? So I really wrote the book for somebody who may be going through this hard time, and it walks you through. Like, first of all, it's for somebody who wants to answer, yes, it is worth saving. Just tell me what to do, right? And it really walks you through chapter by chapter. If you haven't tried this yet, like, don't give up. You got to get this in place. So it's a great book. Even if you're not struggling, there's some things in that book that are really going to help you make sure you maximize your business.
Oh, I love that. Because just like what you said, even if you're not struggling, we go through ups and downs daily, right? I don't know if you've seen that graphic that they have online, like the life of an entrepreneur, 9 a.m., I got this. By noon, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm quitting. So I love that because that's so needed. We need that motivation, that encouragement, and not just that, but the tips, right? The practical, actionable steps. So I love that. And your next book, what are you working on?
Well, the next book will be titled, most likely, She's Building Her Empire. But it's just, a book is a lot of work. People don't realize.
Right.
The hard part isn't writing the book. The hard part is marketing the book, launching the book, keeping it up. And it doesn't go away. It's not something you just launch for a day or a week.
Right.
It is a big, big deal. And I have to just ask myself, what's the best use of my time right now?
Okay. Yeah, that's very smart. And that's another part of being an entrepreneur is understanding the different seasons and getting organized and making sure you're preserving your energy too with whatever's going on in your personal life. Because I do want to talk more about the business and what you do and how you help women. But let's go back and talk about family, because you said you have little kids. I want you to tell us like how old they are and how you juggle all of the things.
Yeah. So I have 2 little girls, and Tegan is 3 and Tanner is 6, almost 6. Aww. And if you do the math, my online business started when I was pregnant, when I was about to have Tegan. So it was a lot. I mean, people always say, well, I've got this or I've got that. So they push it off. There is never a good time to start a business or have a baby. And I did both at the same time. So you have no excuse to get started. But I also was already a business owner for about a decade before I had kids. And I knew I was building a business that I always wanted to be a mom. That was never a question for me. So I was building a business that could run without me, could still make money if I wasn't there that day. I always tell people, if you're not making money on Christmas Day or on your maternity leave or on vacation, you're doing something wrong, because you make money every day, whether or not you're in the business.
Oh, that is so smart. I love that. And I love what you said about not being ready. There's never a good time, because that's one of the things, right? You're like, I need to wait until I'm certain age to have kids or to get married. And it's like, that is never going to happen. You're going to learn on the job. You just have to start.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one of the things that you say about business too. I was looking over on your website to just just start taking action. So let's move on to the business and the pillars that you teach your students and how exactly you do that. Is it through courses and all of that?
Yeah. So yes, it's mostly courses, but a lot of it is group coaching where I'm really in there hand holding as well. I do have a high level mastermind. That's one of my favorite things, just because I've been in a mastermind for a long, long time. So it's something I always thought, I want to run one of those. Like that would be fun. And I think that's how all of this started. I saw somebody on stage speaking and I thought, I want to do that. I saw somebody write a book, or I heard they wrote a book, and I'm like, well, if they can do it, I want to do that. Right. So I hope you let that inspire you versus make you feel overwhelmed or think you can't do it or you're not as good as somebody, because I'm not a writer, but I wrote a book. I'm not a speaker, but I speak on stage. Like I want you to know that you can do these things, whether or not you feel like you are supposed to be, or I shouldn't even say that, whether you think you are ready or equipped, doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and I love that. And everything that you're saying, because I'm just like kind of totally taking you as an inspiration. But now knowing your story even more, it's like, I can totally see myself with the whole teaching background and seeing somebody else and being like, I want to do that. Why not? Yeah. Why not me? And this is just some of the things that I've been going through. Obviously, early stages entrepreneur here, especially compared to you having your business before and then launching your coaching, lots of experience, but it's really, really comforting to hear from someone that has been doing this for a while. And obviously, very seasoned, that you started from scratch at one point.
Completely. And I started not knowing what I was doing. It's not like, I was just born to do this. And maybe I was, but I didn't know everything. I mean, there were so many things where I learned the hard way, and I didn't get that experience or that knowledge because I was so successful. It was because I was making mistakes.
Right.
And I was going, don't do this again, make sure you go this way this time. So I think it is, you gotta do it. And I actually have a degree. I have my bachelor's in business and marketing.
Okay.
And I will tell you, I'm not like knocking education, but I will tell you, even having that, you still have to experience it in your business. You're not going to get good at marketing in a classroom. You're going to get good when you pay money and you get a billboard and you're going, I don't know if anybody even called me from that billboard. Like that's where you're going to learn it from, when you actually have money and time on the line.
Exactly. Oh, I love that you're touching on struggles, because that's one thing that I've always talked about, that I love so much about like Shark Tank show and things like that. Because usually when we see successful people, we see where they are right now, and we forget that where they started, they struggle too. And I love the ones that are honest and talk about their struggles, because that's super important, just like what you're saying right now. And I love that show because sometimes they show little snippets about their stories, and all of them, I would say, had super humble beginnings. And I mean, look at where they are right now, which is to say, you just have to be consistent and keep showing up and keep making mistakes, right? To learn. Yeah. So what were some of like your biggest struggles that you can think back and kind of see the lessons that you've learned that you can share with us?
I think consistency is for sure a big one, because there are days when you are going, I'm just not good at this. This is not working. I can't do this anymore. This is so expensive. I'm putting money over here. I'm not getting a return. And even having those thoughts, know that it's okay to think that, but then you have to say, but I know I can figure this out.
Right.
But I know I'm so close. I'm getting closer. Because so many people, they just quit. They just give up. Like, why am I still here? Because I'm not giving up. Like, it's not an option, right?
Right.
So I'm constantly leveling up, but every time I level up, I'm going into the unknown. There's always scary things, or what about this, or what about that?
Right.
So it's not like, I'm 16 years in, I've got it. This is easy. Well, I have more experience, but I don't have all of the experience.
Right.
I'm a 7-figure business owner, but I'm not an 8-figure business owner. I don't know what they struggle with. Right. So there's always the next level. So for me, it's just, and I hope for you too, this is just, you are never going to give up. You will figure it out. You will go to plan A, B, C, D, whatever. But at the same time, you're not looking for plan B, plan C, because sometimes people just give up too easily. Because they're thinking, it's not working, I'll jump to the next plan. If you would have just stuck with it a little longer, maybe it would have worked.
Right. Oh, that's a super important message too. And what are some of the things that you do to help you keep yourself encouraged and, give yourself the pep talks? Because I'm sure you have some kind of system, some kind of routine, something that you do.
Yeah. So I think a couple things, definitely some routines, but then definitely sticking around people that are doing big things. Because when you are in a group of people, like a mastermind, something like that, when you're with people where you feel comfortable and you really trust them, you will open up. There will be tears. There will be, guys, I know everybody thinks this looked really successful, but this was not successful. And here's what happened. And you hear them. And then you go, okay, this is normal. This is how this works. But they're getting right back on it. I'm going to do the same thing. So I think surround yourself with people that are going to push you. They're going to stretch you. But you're also going to see there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that, a lot of people don't show. They're not going to show you when things are just a disaster. You know? So I think that's a big one. Another one is just, I am constantly listening to podcasts, buying online courses, surrounding myself with the knowledge. Like you can get a book at a library. There is stuff on Google and YouTube, and you have no excuses for not getting amazing content. So for me, I am always just feeding my brain with new stuff, positive stuff. And it's books and podcasts and courses and stuff like that for sure.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that, feeding your brain, because that's super important. Yeah. It never ends, because then that's another thing. You think, oh, that person's super successful. They just sit on their butt and everything just happens. But they still have to work on stuff, on self-doubt, on different levels, just like what you said, but you still have to work through that. And I love the idea of, going through a mastermind. And I've been getting so much, into collaborations lately, and how important it is to celebrate other people's successes and just really hold hands, join hands with other people that are doing similar things, because the environment is so important. Because sometimes your family doesn't really get what you're doing, or friends that you've had growing up, whatever. So being in the space with other entrepreneurs that get what's the struggles, and you can hear about their struggles, it's so important. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're always trying to find the person that's ahead of us, the person that, we put them on this pedestal.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to look around at your peers, because they're going to really help you, because they're exactly where you are and you're in that same place. So don't think, well, she's not big enough. I wish she was bigger than me, or, and you never know who's going to take off. Like, trust me, when I started 3 years ago, there were a lot of people that said no to me on their podcast, or no to me to collaborate. And all of a sudden, a year later, they're like, whoa, she took off, because you never know who's going to take what's going to happen. So be careful. There's probably some peers that you are saying no to that they could be great collaborators.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree with that. Collaborating has been huge for me, and also not looking so much into the numbers, because that's one thing that I've been learning, especially, in the early stages, because sometimes you look at somebody that has so many thousand followers on Instagram, and you assume that they're super successful. And I mean, success is relative, right? Are you looking into how much money they're making, or what is their goal, right? You can't necessarily know. And that's one of the things that I feel like social media has that downside of the comparison of, you're not big enough. You don't know what you're talking about because of the numbers or whatever.
Well, and those numbers yes, I get it. Sometimes you're like, oh, it gives you credibility. But I know people with hundreds of thousands of followers that aren't making money, and they're coming to me saying, what are you doing? How are you doing this? So yes, it's important to grow your social media following, but it's not the only number you should be looking at.
Oh, that's super important advice. You guys need to pay close attention to that, because sometimes when you're starting, you get super discouraged. I didn't get as many likes in my picture. And it's like, that's not the big picture at all. You need to be looking at other stuff. Awesome. And okay, so what is like your biggest piece of advice? I know we touched on so many things, but like, listening to this mom does it all, that is that is listening to us here, and obviously knowing that you're an inspiration, that you've grown different businesses, and that you have so much experience. What do you tell a mom that's maybe starting out, or that has been doing this for a while and is struggling?
Yeah. So I think one of the best things that has helped me was, I realized very quickly, very early on, that if I wanted to grow my business, I was going to have to grow my team. It wasn't like, I'm just going to do this by myself forever. I knew that if I had a big vision, I couldn't be a one-woman show. And I was a one-woman show. We all start that way. But, I almost feel like I was cheating, because I had no kids, wasn't married yet. Like, oh my goodness, looking back, I'm thinking I was wasting time. I should have been utilizing it before my children. But now I realize that when you're just getting started out, when you're looking at this, you've got to really decide, like, now is the time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to move forward. And I think you just got to go for it. So I also think get that help, because you might think, well, I can't afford it, right? Like somebody already listening said, but Stacy, I don't have the money. There's no way. I've never hired somebody. I wouldn't know where to start. Okay, stop the excuses. Again, you can go on Google, you can go on YouTube, you can get blogs and all this stuff that's going to tell you how to hire. If you're not making money yet to invest, and you guys, there's been times where I've invested in a team, in a course, in something before I should have, financially, maybe it wasn't there, but I figured it out. And I was like, I'm going to make my money back. I am going to make enough money to pay this person or to buy this thing. And it's my question is always like, how bad do you want it? Like, if you want it bad enough, you will figure it out. You need money, figure it out, right?
Yes.
Just stop making those excuses.
Right. Yeah. Money is one of those things that we usually use just because it's the first thing to just say. But really, if it's a priority, if you really want it, you'll make a way. And I love that you said that. Go ahead.
Well, if you're a mom and your child got really sick and you needed to come up with $1,000 or $5,000 to help her do something, you would do it for sure. You would figure it out because you want it bad enough. I feel like sometimes we're just like using this as a cop out to be like, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. Then you won't figure it out. You don't want it bad enough. Like you gotta go all in, especially because as a mom, we're doing this for our kids. We're doing this for our family. So stop making the excuses, just go for it and start using the free resources you have, you know?
Yeah. Start off with that. And it's so interesting that you say that because I was at a point where I knew I was starting to get overwhelmed and I needed to hire like a virtual assistant, but I was like not wanting to take the leave because it's like, I'm not so sure if I can afford this. And it's just exactly what you said. It's like, it'll take something off of your plate. You're going to be able to grow faster. It's just some of those decisions that are scary, but you have to do it anyways. And it's just part of owning a business. And then you'll be grateful for it later.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and if you say, well, I can't afford it, but I'm going to do it anyway, but then you use your time. Let's say you hire them for 4 hours a week. And during those 4 hours, you're not using your time wisely. Well, then maybe it won't pay for itself. But if you outsource something and do something that's going to really give you a return, you're going to go, why didn't I do this earlier? Why didn't I do this sooner? And that's when you're going to see a big difference.
Right. If you're smart about your time and strategize everything, then of course it's going to make sense. Awesome. Okay. So how can we find you? Of course, she's building your empire. So you are already running a mastermind right now. What are some different ways of working with you?
Yeah. So go to the podcast, She's Building Her Empire, or the website is just she'sbuildingherempire.com. Everything's going to be on there, including like a work with me section. So yes, I have a mastermind that runs with 20 ladies maximum. I have like a group coaching program and then some courses and things like that you'll see there. My favorite places to hang out though are Instagram for sure. I think that's where we connected.
Yes.
Instagram, I have a Facebook group, She's Building Her Empire. Those are my definitely favorite places to be.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was so great. People, you need to connect with her because she's amazing. Such an inspiration, especially now that I know more about your story. Thank you so much for sharing. This is great, Stacy.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Can you tell I was a bit starstruck? It's been so amazing getting to interview so many amazing mompreneurs. I'm truly humbled by all the growth I've experienced in my business and on this show in the last few months, and it's all because of your support, so thank you. Don't forget to connect with Stacy. I have all her info in the show notes, and until next time, bye!